are in the epicenter, and this is the interactive interview.
Wrestling fans, let's get ready to rumble!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here once again with the interactive interview here on WrestlingEpicenter.com, and we're going to hit the ground running as we're being joined right now by former TNA knockout Traci Brooks. Traci, are you with us?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Doing great. This is probably, I think, your fifth or sixth appearance on the show. So
God, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, you haven't done many interviews of late, so I'm glad, honestly, that you agreed to sit down with us because it's a treat for us every time you come on.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I wasn't doing interviews for a little bit, so I was actually getting my green card, so I was kind of lying low for a little bit.
How fun is it to deal with the government?
It's not.
Trust me, my wife comes from the UK, and I deal with it a lot. So, yeah.
Then you know exactly what I was talking about. It's like 4 months of not doing anything, and yeah, it was a little bit of hell, but it's all over with, and I'm all good to go now.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Now, is that partially why you left TNA? Did that have anything to do with it, or what happened?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
No, it just happened to be. My contract was actually up in June this year, 2010. So my visa was actually up too. So, but yeah, no, that wasn't why though.
That had nothing to do. Okay, good. Well, I was just kind of curious because I know the whole thing with Angelina that happened. So.
Yeah, no, it was. You can, if you have your work visa and you apply for your permanent residency card, you can actually keep working. But it was just. Mine is just, a long, confusing story, which I'm sure you know with your wife being from the UK.
Exactly, yeah.
I just feel sorry for anyone that has to go through that process.
Exactly. But I think it gives you...
WWE guys had some problems, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I heard about that.
Yeah, a couple of them actually decided to go back and wait it out, so...
You know what, everyone just thinks when you marry an American that it's just, you're all right and ready to go, and it's such a pain in the ass. I mean, we just come from Canada, and we've had so many problems. I mean, a lot of us have had problems, and it's just, it's one of those things, but you have to stick it out because if you love the business, you have to do what you have to do, right?
Exactly. But if you really think about it, that works well for, like, sitcom storylines where you can do that, but in real life, it don't work that way, yeah.
Honestly, it's like I have a whole new respect. I mean, you try to do things legally in the right way and stuff like that, and you get frustrated because there's people that don't do it the legal way and have no problems. Yeah, but... Man,
Traci, I live in Arizona, so you.
Oh, do you really? Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, you guys are getting screwed.
You need not say more.
Yeah.
And it's not a racist thing. It really isn't. But if you go through the process and you know what the headaches are, and for those who don't go through the legal way and get, have to pay all that money out and all that effort out, you kind of just like, well, you know what? If they do get legal status, then I want a refund.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is you spend a lot of money and then you can't travel for. What happened with me, too, is that I couldn't get my travel papers because usually when you apply for your work visa, I think it's 90 days later, you can get your travel papers, which means you can go on a honeymoon or leave the country. Well, because of the Arizona law passing, everyone in the world is getting their legal status now, thank God. But I didn't get my travel papers. So I was stuck for 4 months without being able to leave or go home or anything. So It was a little frustrating, but oh well, who cares?
Yeah, very good.
It's all over.
Exactly. So there's been a lot that's gone on since the last time we talked to you. I think the last time we actually talked to you was back when you were with Robert Roode.
Oh, my God. 2007, 8?
2007. That's right, yeah.
Gosh.
It's been a while. So
that was a great angle, by the way.
I love that angle. One of my favorites. And,
of course, we have to kick off with something that I haven't heard you talk too much about. And, again, if you're uncomfortable talking about it a lot, I don't want to put you in a bad spot, but... let me say this. I'd choose you over Marge Simpson any day.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, the funny thing is that what people don't realize is when Playboy approached me, it was to be a celebrity, do a celebrity pictorial. That does not mean you get the cover at all. It never has meant you got the cover. That is totally still up to Hugh Hefner. When Farrah Fawcett died, she'd done Playboy when she was 50, and she'd done it a long time ago, too. He wanted to honor her, and all the subscriptions up into my month, which was November, was already done. So I basically got bumped for Farrah Fawcett, who was a celebrity pictorial that month. So the fact that I got bumped for Farrah Fawcett, who's a sex icon, I really can't complain.
Exactly, right.
So, yeah, and everyone's like, you got bumped for Marge Simpson. I'm like, no, actually, because Farrah didn't get the cover either. So just because, and that's the thing is, at one point I felt like showing everyone my contract, and, this is my Playboy contract, and I was never promised a cover. You never are promised a cover. And, but, then I was like, you know what, screw everybody else. I did Playboy. And I had 95 million views, and I was one of the most downloaded girls for Playboy last year. And you know what? I have 44 pictures out of the thing that I get to sell for the rest of my life. And, at the end of the day, you got to just say, screw everybody else. I got to do it and shoot with Playboy. And it was this, it was 3 days of nothing but being treated like a princess.
So no bitterness and no anger at all, huh?
Oh, my God, not at all.
Good.
Not at Playboy at all either. I mean, Playboy, it's Farrah Fawcett.
It's Farrah, exactly, yeah.
It's Farrah Fawcett.
I mean, there wasn't a guy who grew up in the 70s that didn't have her on
or
the
a girl
wall.
wanted to be her. It was, and that's the thing is what it was good for TNA too, because as everyone knows, magazines don't do, they're not doing as well anymore because of the .coms.
Right.
Well, Playboy subscription is down. I don't want to say how much, but I want to say like 3 million, where their .com actually has 6 million subscribers a month. So.
Wow.
And TNA actually got more publicity out of being in .com than they did being in the magazine.
I was just about to ask you that, because one of the biggest things when I knew WWE was taking over back in the day was when, my friend's dad, my friend, we were college age at that point, and even my friend's dad was coming over and saying, oh, man, can you get me that Playboy with Sable in it? I was like, oh, God, I can tell they're going to take over now. And I mean, I guess it was really good publicity for them. Now. Oh,
absolutely.
So
but that was also, too, when Playboy was like, when did Sable do it?
98?
98?
Then .com wasn't as big as it is now.
No,
like,
not
I
even
think,
close.
I don't want to say the number, but I want to say it's 3 million that the subscribers are in Playboy a month compared to the 6 million that Cyber Club does .com. 6 million a month. So, wow. And I was already in the magazine too. They actually put me in the magazine for an advertisement for TNA. So, which was cool. I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, everyone's like even my friends were coming up to me going, I'd be pissed off. I'm like, really? Because the check cleared, and it's still the same amount of money, and it was 3 days of them treating me like a princess. And how many girls get to say they shot with Arnie Freitag, who shot like the girls next door and is one of the main photographers for Playboy?
Wow. Very
so, yeah.
Cool.
And I'm, 44 pictures instead of 8 pictures. So sometimes I get mad when people, try to, oh, you got screwed, or no, you know what, no, you can think that, people can think that, but you know what, at the end of the day, my very nice check cleared, and I
think it has a lot to do with the people still adjusting to the fact that really magazines, I couldn't tell you the last time I bought a wrestling magazine, and I used to buy them all the time. So. Well,
that's the thing is now they're only down to, one magazine, wrestling magazine now?
Yeah, I think there used to be WOW and Pro Wrestling Illustrated and all those, and now there's just, I think it's WWE magazine, and is that it?
I think
PWI.
PWI still goes, yeah.
But you know what, I mean, there's people, too, in the Playboy office that told me that they didn't want, there's a new publisher that took over, and they didn't want wrestlers anymore, and so, you know what, I hope that's not true. I hope that's not the route they go. I hope they do, if WWE does go, back that way, that they do, because, I mean, it's a great experience for any girl, and the fact that a wrestler there, it's cool.
Exactly. And, I mean, a lot of wrestling fans obviously sought that out as well.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is obviously the intended, crossover.
Exactly.
All righty. So
I have a kind of a silly question here. One last Playboy question. Did you get to meet Hugh Hefner, and if you did, how cool is he?
No, because I went to Santa Monica to the studios there.
Oh, okay.
So, but it was I met everyone. I mean, it was the coolest thing. You can't, they treat you like first class limo service, everything you could ever imagine. It was actually the next day it was actually my birthday.
Oh,
so
wow.
The last day of shooting, they actually the whole entire set, but they bought me In-N-Out Burger and cupcakes, and they just treated you honestly, it's sad because I don't ever want to do another photo shoot again, because just the way you were treated and the way they shot you, and it was just incredible.
So they gave you the In-N-Out Burger after the shoot?
Oh, no, during the shoot.
Oh, during the shoot. Okay. I would
think
that'd be something that you wouldn't
I did.
before.
It was my last day. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Well, I guess, we want to talk a little bit about your last days in TNA, since we have touched base with you on everything up until that point, and it seemed like they were really leading towards pushing you around when that came out, and it just, I think part of the reason why people say that you were screwed, even if that wasn't the case, is that it seemed like they should have pushed you at that point, because that was coming out the exact same time that Bound for Glory was really being promoted. Did you?
That's the only thing I was disappointed about in TNA was, and no hard feelings with them at all. I mean, I love TNA and they're my family. But honestly, that was the only thing I was disappointed, because Playboy did put in the magazine a full-page ad with me in the TNA shirt saying, "Come to Bound for Glory, Irvine, California," and gave the date to see knockout Playboy model Traci Brooks. And TNA didn't include me in the pay-per-view, so it kind of hurt. I couldn't figure out why, because there was 6 million emails going out every week to these subscribers saying Traci Brooks, TNA knockout. And it was a huge publicity for TNA, but I don't know if TNA thought, because I didn't get in the magazine, that it wasn't as big, and realistically it was bigger than if I was in the magazine. So
yeah, like I said, it might just be that old view of, oh, well, the magazine is what people buy, and if that's not the case. Yeah,
just you know what, miscommunication too, and things like that, and it's just, you know what, I mean, you just one of those things that's miscommunication, and we should have, you know, maybe dealt a little clearer on that whole situation. But I mean, they started putting me with Main Event Mafia, and then all of a sudden Main Event Mafia was no more, and
right.
So
yeah, that kind of fizzles. Yeah. So now that your visa is all sorted out, what's the plan? What are we going to be doing?
I'm not sure. You know what? Right now, I'm busier than ever doing independents and conventions and stuff like that, and I'm honestly having a lot of fun. I always say I'm like the happiest pro wrestler there is right now.
Really?
I have no politics, no bullshit, no.
Really? And
no,
you're
like,
in demand
backstabbing.
too, which is good.
Well, it's been fun, and I've actually got to, you know, if I wanted to take a weekend off, and so it's been a lot of fun, but you know, you never know how long that lasts, and you never know where I'll end up.
Exactly. Is it harder for a woman to go on the independent scene than a man, or?
I don't think harder. Maybe. Well, you know what? When I first started wrestling back in 2000, and like when I was on the road in 2001 with Gail, It was a lot easier because it was just kind of like Gail, Kim, myself, and Beth Phoenix.
Right.
And we were kind of like the only girls around Canada, and even Beth around the New York area. And now it just seems like everywhere you go, there's 1,000 women wrestlers.
Right.
And there's a lot of girls that are willing to do a lot more for cheaper and go through tables and, you know, get color and do all this stuff. But, you know, you get what you pay for kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah.
And, too, with a lot of people like Mickey James. And, I mean, I'm dying to work Mickey because I've actually, the time we've been together on the independents and in TNA, we never worked. So, but I mean, the people that are getting kind of released from WWE, you know, you have competition with that, too. But
yeah, I actually have a story about that, too.
Oh, no.
Real quick story about that. It's just a quick thing. I actually got contacted because we do a booking site as well on the side, and it's you know, something that we haven't done much with of late. And I got contacted when Mickey was going to do the IWA Puerto Rico event.
Uh-huh.
And they said, well, you know, they said to me, you represent a lot of people, and I don't represent you, but they said, you know, what female on the independent scene would be good for Mickey? And I said, you know, honest with you, the best one I could think of that's available would be Traci Brooks.
Aw, thank you.
Well, they didn't happen, but still.
Well, actually, because it was the time I was supposed to actually go to Trinidad, WWC, with Carlos Colon's group.
Oh, good.
But because of my work visa, or my permanent residency issue, I couldn't leave the country, obviously, so I never got to go. But I was actually supposed to work Mickey there. I think ODB went.
ODB did go, yes, she did. I think it was an anniversary event or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it sucks because it was a good chance to go to Trinidad, and then they wanted me in Puerto Rico, too, but I couldn't, unfortunately, so. Yeah. But ODB is a good replacement.
Exactly. So you mentioned two people that you started with, and we know your roots from previous interviews, and for those who want to hear them, they can check out our archives at WrestlingEpicenter.com/interviews. But you mentioned two of the people you started with were Beth Phoenix and Gail Kim, and of course they're tearing it up in WWE. And
yes, I'm so happy for them.
All right. Well, of course, the next logical question is: any hopes or plans to follow suit?
Again, I mean, when you get into the wrestling business, you know, at the time there was no TNA around, and you know, it was to be. Well, at the time, was a WWF superstar, and you know, that's what you get into the business for. So, yeah, of course, I had live. You know, I said I wasn't interested, but at this time, I just, you know, I'm kind of just doing my thing and having fun, and as I said, you'll never know where I'll end up.
And you don't think anything silly like that incident with the Royal Rumble commercial when you brought them cookies, nothing like that?
Oh, no, God, no. They've forgotten about that, if they even cared about it.
I doubt they did anyway.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so did I.